True. How's it going?
Good. He said, still alive. How's it going with you?
Not bad. Not bad. I actually just started reading Dune all on my lonesome day.
Oh, good. How far did
Uh,
you get?
I just read the first chapter. That's usually like how I roll. Like I'll read a chapter while I'm in the gym, like on the bike,
Mm,
and like every day while I'm there. So
that's pretty impressive that you do it like while doing physical activity. Because I can't I can't do that shit. Like I have to listen to music to zone my brain out.
I feel like it's much easier for me to. Geez, hold on. This audio
Oop,
doesn't
nope.
sound great.
No, no problem.
Um, it's like really cycling. Like it sounds deep for some reason.
Mm.
Does my voice sound
Over.
super deep to you?
No, but it kind of did last podcast, so I was wondering if that was like.
That's so odd.
I thought the married life was, deepening your voice a bit.
It's like cutting in and out too. Hold on.
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
Okay. I don't know if that's gonna make it crackle still. Let's try that. Mm, please don't call me good sir. I need to test my audio. Jesus.
Sounds better.
Does it?
At least on my end. I'm not sure how it is on the stream because I have the stream muted. That shit gives me a headache.
What gives you a headache?
Listening to like my own stream, it's like double repeating. It's mm.
Yeah, I think it sounds better. But for some reason, my voice still sounds deep.
Mm.
All right. Let's, all right. I think we're good. I think I fixed it. Hopefully. Hopefully, no more audio troubles.
See.
Let me text this guy who was calling me. But yeah, well, how's your day been? Like, how's your week been? How are you feeling?
Uh, well, it's Wednesday, so we're halfway to Friday. Had kind of a difficult day yesterday. One of the mental health issue day, so I pretty much spent the whole day in bed. Kind of wasted. Not kind of wasted, but like wasted day. I don't really drink that much anymore. Monday I did 353 words though, starting off novel writing November, so that was good.
Wicked.
I've set a 50,000 word goal and be tending an all day writing on Saturday, so hopefully that'll go great. Just keep writing crazy weird shit, and eventually I can put it all into a book, and then I can tell people like, "Hey, you want to read this book?" And they're like, "Yes." And I'm like, "All right, give me like 19.99, and we're good to go." Never set. So yeah. Also probably next week gonna start the first of the many steps of getting a real estate license. Where you got to go to real estate. You're right. You go to a school. And then they need to send these stupid little certificates to like some state office that you passed these courses.
It's like
Yeah,
what, like a 3 month process or something?
yeah, because you had there in the specific school I'm going to. It's the one that my parents went to because I'll be honest, it's just the cheapest and easiest. I'm not sure if I want to say that like if that's a professional or anything like that, but to get the license, like you gotta do it. So you can take one of these exams every 10 days, and if you pass the exam, it's great. But you still can't take another one until 10 days have passed. So basically, I'm just gonna do a sprint where I just do one test in one day because I'm pretty quick on the draw, and these things are like multiple choice questions. They're five
Nice.
answer multiple choice questions. Like it's A B C, A through D, and four questions. I apologize, and I got flashcards and shit, and it shouldn't be that. It really, for someone who is a college graduate with a bachelor's degree, it shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Um, Yeah, 'cause I think I might just be giving up on law. I'm not sure yet, but it's just the whole field and how the courts interact. It's just really fucked up right now. I gotta be honest. Like, it's more expensive if you get into a lawsuit. It's more expensive than if someone actually walks up and shoots you. Like, it's the amount, the expense is just crazy. Like, and this
Yeah.
country has a very poor relationship with medical debt. So it's just saying something about where we live, and I just don't. The courts, I'm not sure at this point if anything can be done, if they just got to burn down before they can be built up again into something that vaguely represents like an efficient way to get justice for people that are going through difficult situations. Like, that's just what they're there to do. But again, with it being so expensive, and that part of it ties into, of course, the law school expense, which has just been outrageous, totally outrageous. Like, it should be just based on pure merit of academic merit alone, in my opinion. But maybe that's just too progressive for me. I'm not sure.
Yeah, stop being so darn progressive, yo.
Yeah. But no, so with law schools, like, so lawyers feel trapped by all this student debt that they come out of, so they gotta apply their awesome lawyer brains, which could be used much more in the interest of justice. Essentially, either going to the prosecutor's office makes a ton of money, or going into criminal defense, which is a very difficult field to work in. I'll just leave it at that. Private criminal defense, that is. I didn't do any public defense work, but I'm sure it'd be as a little more difficult.
Yeah.
So that's all that's going on in my life right now. What about you?
Nothing quite that exciting.
Yeah.
I'm starting to learn some more things at work, some new things for the new position I'm moving into, and it's kind of a lot, but it's good. Like, I always enjoy learning.
Yep.
Um,
Especially if you're getting
and
paid for it.
yeah. Other than that, I mean, not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you have any good fast food this week?
I mean, nothing particularly good.
No, man.
Nothing like special, right? Like, so.
Yeah.
But tomorrow's Eternals.
Oh, that's right. That means unhealthy movie food.
Yes. So the thing is, right? Like, I bought my tickets for Eternals when the first went on sale.
Yep, as you do.
Yeah, and there's a whole wide theater for people to choose seats from. And so I look the other day, and these motherfuckers bought the only seats in the theater right next to me on both sides.
Yeah.
And that was very odd. So I returned my tickets and bought new tickets
There you go.
somewhere else in the theater. Like,
If it works. So, like, what, you were like in this own section to yourself, and like two people bought on either side of you, or like that's why you usually like go all the way to the right or all the way to the left.
Yeah.
Like,
So I bought seats like in the middle.
Yeah.
Like in like pretty much like the exact middle of the theater, and then like I
Was
checked
it just
like
you?
no, 2 seats.
Okay.
I check, and there's 4 seats to the left of me taken right next to me, and 2 seats to the right of me right next to my other seat taken. It's like, oh, what happened to social distancing up in here? All right.
That's not, dude. You walk into it's the stupidest thing in the world. Like, when you're walking up to the concessions and shit, they ask you to keep your mask on. But as soon as you sit down in the fucking chair, it's like, okay, everybody, you can take your mask off now. It's all good.
I don't even know if that's true. I think like in some theaters, like you have to be eating, and when you're not, they want you to keep your mask on, and like they have like people patrolling it and shit. Like, that's why I just get popcorn and eat the whole time, because that's fucking
Basically.
annoying.
Yeah, you could just, I got this popcorn. I'm gonna eat it at some point, or a soda, or chicken strips, or a pretzel. Like, if you're like me, you like pretzels.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But no, I hope Eternals is good. I've been hearing that the tomato meter has been falling like a rock.
Yeah, it's like Marvel's only like rotten certified movie or something right now, but like I don't know if that's like as a result of it being not a great movie. Like, from what I hear, a lot of people don't like it because it's really slow and like not like your typical action-packed, punching, fighting movies. Which I don't mind. Like, I don't have any problem with that. But I also heard, like, and I don't know how much of this is true, or to what extent it's it's affected the Rotten Tomatoes score, but like I heard it got like review bombed because of
Mm,
like the LGBT stuff that's in the movie,
mm.
which is like, I mean, I get it. Like people review bombed, what was it, Wonder Woman? Like people
Yeah, because
review
it's too
bombed a lot of
feminist.
movies, but like
Yeah.
it's just so weird to me. Like is it, are the, I don't know. And it's even weirder that we, like, people keep citing Rotten Tomatoes for things. Like I thought we stopped using Rotten Tomatoes to like assess the quality of a movie or whatever. Like
Absolutely.
I thought it
Yeah.
was a joke.
Yeah, the quality of the movie, like I just had this experience again the other day with the Many Saints of Newark, the Sopranos story, like the movie that got set kind of for the formative years of one of the main characters in The Sopranos. I actually thought it was quite good. Even though if you go on the internet and you read any review, everyone says that movie sucks, and I just don't know why I didn't see it, but I thought it could have been worse, could have been, certainly could have been better, but it could have been worse also. So I was just happy to get something from the Sopranos universe, and it's made by the same creator. And the reason I think it got review bombed is because it has a lot to do with this country's extremely violent past. Sorry, I apologize. This country's extremely violent past with racism. Even as early as the '60s and '70s, there were still riots solely based around that, and people responding to other people doing things. And it's just there were a lot of scenes like that in this movie, and they also made some really strong choices about word choice, which is good. I like a movie that has some balls to it, and I'm just glad the movie exists, and the fact that it got all these shit reviews online and everybody hates it doesn't make any sense to me. So I really just need point point short is I really need to stop reading reviews in general because like I don't even watch trailers anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, like the thing is, like, we love Marvel and all that stuff, but like the fact that every time a movie comes out, there's 97 trailers, 85 behind the scenes shots, like
Yeah,
60,000 images released, interviews with everybody in the whole movie, like
yeah,
16 TV spots. Like we don't need all that shit. Like I want to wait and see the fucking movie. Like one
exactly. We
trailer, two
need
trailers is fine, but like,
Yeah, one or two good trailers. That's the thing. A really good trailer can do a lot for a movie. Like the Force Awakens had an amazing trailer for it. Like the first
hmm
original teaser trailer, when you just saw that shot of the Millennium Falcon like doing a once over barrel roll with like a back of a Star Destroyer or some shit, it was
yeah.
great.
I
I
mean,
think,
even Rise of Skywalker had a great trailer, but then the whole Palpatine's daughter bullshit came up, and so
yeah, and just somehow Palpatine's returned, Sith cloning, a technique only known to the Sith. Yeah, there wasn't an army, an army of clones or anything like that for like a gajillion years, and everybody knew the Kaminoans, and they were working with them because they were deeply tied to the Republic. Because as we learned in the Clone Wars, they needed them to help do medical facilities for the clones. So, yeah, no, sorry, we've done enough bashing on that movie, but
uh
yeah, yeah, good times. You remember when that was our biggest gripe with the shitty Star Wars movie? Not even shitty, just poorly planned. Well, I guess shitty and poorly planned.
I feel like people who are like, there are those fans of Star Wars who think like you can't level any criticism at it or you're not a true fan and stuff. Like it kind of weird, but I feel like to them we were harsh, but to most people we were probably extremely fair with our
Yeah.
assessment of those
A lot more
movies.
fair than most people. It's
Because
just
at the end of the day, no matter what, if people like them, that's great. Like there's
yeah,
not a problem with
exactly.
that. Like even I enjoy them. I have my problems with them, but I enjoy them, and I'll be happy to rewatch them. But
Yeah,
there are. It's one of those things a lot of times too that people do where like they get their expectations so high for movies like that,
yeah.
and especially after The Force Awakens, everybody had their fan theories about The Last Jedi, and then everybody was disappointed with the movie they got because it wasn't the movie that they wanted.
Yeah.
So
It also is extremely disconnected from the first movie because there was no clear plot point or anything like that. It seemed to be in construction, and they were taking characters and essentially juggling them on the importance scale, which is something you should never really do.
yeah, I mean
And
it's just
Finn
assaulting
got
too to the fans
yeah,
that like they didn't have a plan from the beginning. They just kind of winged the whole entire trilogy. So
exactly. And Finn got sidelined, and that led to some implications that I don't think, honestly, like of all the implications that could come out of Hollywood, I think it's the one time where it's not true, but he still feels that way. It sucks.
yeah,
He's literally like a casualty because of the shit move, because of the shit preparedness of the studio, which is arguably supposed to be the greatest studio of all time.
Right, but the greatest power that Disney's had with the MCU is that they put the right people in charge.
Yeah.
Um,
And they're doing
and
that now again with Star Wars, like with John Favreau and
Dave Filoni, yeah.
Dave Filoni. Yeah, they're just saying like, okay, this kid's got a vision for Star Wars, so he's gonna make it happen.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when they let Kathleen Kennedy just sit there at the helm, I mean, I give her credit for bringing in J.J. Abrams for The Force Awakens, but then, like, when he, like, signing him to one movie deal or whatever, one and done, like, she should have looked for someone who was more dedicated to the overall vision of the trilogy.
Exactly. Like, she should, yeah. Like, he could have made his own independent Star Wars movie, and then we could have gotten three other movies on top of that movie. So,
right. It's not like they didn't have, like, a plan to
options.
do.
It's fucking Disney.
They were making anthology movies. They made Rogue One. They made Solo. I mean, yeah. And J.J. Abrams even admitted he didn't want to do Star Wars, so.
Yeah, and there's so many great writers in the world, and it's fucking Disney. Like, if Disney walked up to you and says, hey, we want you to write the new Star Wars trilogy, you're like, okay, give me a fucking pen and paper, and I'll see you guys in a year. I'm gonna go, like, do drugs in the middle of nowhere where I can only see the stars and imagine all the wars or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, I read a review, like a headline of a review from a guy about the Eternals, and it's someone who clearly hates Marvel movies, and just like these like professional critics and like the air of like superiority and pretentiousness they have is fucking crazy. Like he literally was like, well, Eternals may be one of the most interesting Marvel movies ever made. It is certainly the least interesting Chloe Zhao movie ever made, and let's hope it stays like that. Jesus fuck, man.
Yeah. Sounds like, yeah, man, professional, yeah.
Just nauseating to read,
Exactly, and Ratatouille, the movie from Disney, quite arguably one of Pixar's greatest films of all time. Even though I'm pretty sure Lightyear's probably just gonna do nothing but punch me in the gut for like 3 hours or however long that movie run's gonna be. I'm ready to be crying again, like the end of Toy Story 3 and 4. Anyway, it's just I lost my train of thought completely. I'm sorry.
Ratatouille critics.
Ratatouille had a lot to do with critiques and even the villains, quote unquote. Even though I don't consider Anton Ego to be a villain, just that dialogue he had at the end of the movie was fantastic about the nature of criticism and how you just sort of need to reject it and push forward. And if it's great, it's gonna be great, and if it's not, it's gonna fuck. So, oh well, that's life. Not everyone can be a great artist, but a great artist can come from anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also fuck negative criticism. If you enjoy these movies, that's great. I'm happy that you found something that you can enjoy with. But man, just telling you, like seeing all three in a row, those ducks are not all three ducks. There's one goose, one swan, and
Yeah.
Then there's one duck. There's one duck.
One duck.
One duck. They tried to paint the goose and they tried to paint the goose and the swan as a duck, and it didn't work out. Everything going okay with it, bud?
My wife wants to walk past. She's not gonna be on camera. Like she thinks she's gonna be on camera, but she won't.
She can always crawl, man.
She's not gonna show up. Jesus. She's just like trying to be a ninja.
She was like, dude, you just gotta get down on all four and crawl when you don't want to.
We'll just keep turning away. It's fine.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's catching up. Any news going on aside from Eternals not doing too well? If it's a review bomb, whatever. Is there any other news?
Not really. I mean, most of the news lately has been kind of boring. There's still some stuff like, rumors and whatnot surrounding Spider-Man that I tend to ignore because I think it's all stupid.
That's super fan hype, like you said. Like that movie's not gonna live up to its expectations because I didn't realize how much some people love those first two Spider-Man movies that came out all super long time ago.
Yeah. Oh, there's a Morbius trailer yesterday. The Book of Boba Fett trailer. I mean, people can watch those on their own.
Yep.
Daniel Day Kim cast as Fire Lord Ozai in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay. I mean, the first attempt at the Avatar 2, live action was like really, really bad. So I'm honestly, I'm not gonna give a shit about it until I go and sit down in the theater and watch it because I'm gonna go sit in the theater and watch it. But man, I hope it doesn't suck. Anyway,
No,
what
it's
else?
gonna be Netflix exclusive.
Well, maybe Netflix will be weird enough with it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna
Anything
be
else?
a TV series, live action. But
Oh,
yeah,
good. Hopefully, it'll be super
um,
kung fu.
Marvel's Midnight Suns delayed to second half of 2022. That's the video game.
Oh, okay.
What else? I mean, nothing really like happening lately. Jason Momoa got COVID.
Well, I'm pretty sure he'll be fine. I think he'll
Yeah.
be okay.
Lucasfilm bullshit doesn't mean anything. Cosplayers. New Gods movie was canceled because of Darkseid or something. The Witcher season 2 trailer. Benedict Cumberbatch explains Doctor Strange's dynamic with Spider-Man. No, I'll watch the movie and figure that out for
Figured
myself.
out myself. Yeah.
There's a new Iron Fist in comics. And people are probably mad about that because he's Asian.
I'm mad that they didn't finish. There's no more Iron Fist in general. Like what we had on Netflix. Because man, I really did enjoy that show. I know it was like the weakest of the trio, but I just love this kung fu. I just love the kung fu shit in that movie. I'm just like, oh, kung fu shit. Daredevil.
Yeah, Dennis Villanueva says he wants to direct third Dune movie, Dune Messiah.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, no. Okay. Okay, well, they need to take Dune Messiah and Children of Dune, and they need to just make them one movie because Children of Dune is really short, and Dune Messiah is like kind of medium length. So I think will probably be a better idea. I did notice on HBO Max, if you watch Dune now, it says Dune Part 1, where originally it just said Dune.
Yeah, because they announced Part 2.
Part 2, yes, which is going to be great.
Yeah, 2023 release is planned. So.
That's kind of a wait, but I guess I'll just wait. Hopefully we'll see a third stage Guild Navigator with modern VHX because they did that in the original one in the 1980s and it was really weird looking, but also I guess I'm okay with that because I'm a weird dude. Yeah. Did you ever watch the original Dune?
No, I know my dad was a big fan of it.
Okay, well, me and you, I'll drive up just to watch it with you.
The original 1984 Dune.
After you finish reading the book, though. But I'll drive it. Then I'll read it. I'll drive up. We can watch Dune, the original one, and then we can watch the new Dune.
The first Dune book is really long, isn't it? Like 800 pages or something.
The longest Dune book I believe is God Emperor of Dune, which is my favorite of the series. Because God Emperor of Dune is just he's basically just Frank Herbert trying to get people woke as fuck. So the way to describe it, I just really hope, honestly, my hope of hopes is that eventually this turns into God Emperor of Dune. That's honestly what I'm hoping for. It's what I'm dreaming for. I would love to see Leto II brought to the main, and however they could do it. Like, just even an attempt. Just an attempt. Like, even if they fucking missed the dartboard, if they're playing darts and they fucking missed the board, I wouldn't even care. I would just be happy that they threw the dart.
Right.
Oh, man. Sorry. I'm nerding out over here. Space drugs.
Yeah. If anybody's watching and has any comments or anything to add, you can add that in chat. You can type whatever message you would like to, or give us a follow.
About the Chapter House Dune and Ninjas Sex Space Pussies. Let us know. The last two Dune books, dude. Let me tell you, they're really fucking weird.
Well, even the first. So I read the first chapter, right?
Yeah.
And it was interesting because the movie kind of it does like the Lord of the Rings thing. It gives you like this kind of prologue in a way.
Yeah.
Like it kind of introduces Arrakis and the evil bald guys, the Harkonnens, and like all that stuff, and then slowly you kind of get introduced to Paul and like his mom and shit. But like the book is just like straight into it. Like, okay, we're gonna put your hand in the box and shit. So, but like the first chapter was like very weird. Like, it seemed like I feel like it's similar. Like, this is probably why it gets compared to Lord of the Rings. Like, they get compared so much. It's not because of like the similar subject matter, because they're completely different things, but because of like the way they build their mythologies. Because like the first chapter is just like, oh, there's these people and all these weird Middle Eastern words that you don't know or understand, and all these different names for all these people, and it's like. it's kind of a lot, but like like everything that's not that is written really simplistically, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, Frank Herbert's writing is interesting. Let's just say that he doesn't have exactly the highest quality prose that I've ever read in my entire life. He just had a lot of really cool, interesting, weird ideas. Fun fact, I'm not sure if I told you this before, but actually he was rejected for that book by many, many publishers for obvious reasons, because it's kind of a long shot. At least back then it was. Now probably it would have been okay. But the first Dune was actually published by a publisher that exclusively makes auto manuals for automobiles. They were the ones that published the book. There was a reason they caught on.
Yeah.
So
I think
always gotta check it.
yeah, like what you're saying, like it's a stark contrast like after I just finished reading all of Harry Potter
Hmm.
because J.K. Rowling, like her prose is really nuanced. It's really strong.
Yeah.
And then like jumping into Dune, like just reading it, I'm like, this sounds like something I would have written like 10 years ago, but like without I wouldn't have had like conceptual ideas to add to that writing, you know?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, it's very clunky. It's very static. But there's a shitload of it, and there's also just some chapters are like Tolkien chapters. It's all dialogue. Essentially, it's just
yeah,
dialogue between two characters. Interpersonal relationships are super important, especially in Frank Herbert's books. Um, I will talk about this with you later. I'll wait until you finish the book before we
okay,
go deeper into it, because there are
yeah,
some like issues I have personally, but we can just do like a book club or something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Or,
So, but I will say like I'm glad I watched the new Dune movie before reading it
Mhm.
because some of the names and words would probably be more difficult to
Yeah.
pronounce or work
You,
out.
that's the thing. Another reason I think Dune was just so popular is because it's not grounded in this, with respect to Tolkien, because he was the grandfather of this, but almost all science fiction fantasy is grounded in European fantasy.
Yeah,
Frank Herbert was stepping out of the box just a little bit, and he didn't have to go very far. He just went to the Middle East, which is right next door, essentially, geographically speaking, for for a unique blend of cultures,
yeah.
essentially, and just kind of like Lawrence. A lot of people would compare it to Lawrence of Arabia, which could be the case, but
Well, I also like, with the modern day eye, like you might see some of that same idea that's in Dune in something like Firefly.
yeah,
Not that Firefly necessarily got the idea, but like, Firefly imagines a future where China largely took over and people frequently speak Chinese, but like it seems like a lot of what's in Dune is like, well, what if the Middle East was like this great,
the
you
yeah
know,
the rating, yeah,
power
exactly.
that then expanded it throughout different colonies in the world or the universe, right?
Yeah. And
Um,
a lot of that gets worked into when they start talking about the Orange Catholic Bible, which is super
yeah,
important in
they
the
mentioned that
universe.
in the very
Yeah.
first chapter.
Yes.
Yeah, and
So,
it's
oh,
way
go ahead.
it's way more. Geez, like you even just reading the first chapter in the book, you can see how much would have got left out completely of any of the movies, like moving forward as well, because like there's no mention of like humans
Yeah.
in the movie, right? But like that seemed to be like a super important part of
Go for it.
yeah, like especially like the
Yeah.
first chapter. It's like our understanding of it in the movie is like, well, they want to see if he's like this actual god kind of person, like that was foretold to be born in this year on this day or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
the male who has these abilities, right? And so that's why he's tested. And
Yeah.
but like in the book, it's like he's tested for that reason. But they also test people to see if they're quote unquote human.
Yeah, and this is an issue I have with the new Dune movie. I could probably go more in depth to it, but in the book, Paul is on the ground screaming, and he's in horrible, horrible pain. Like he's in so much pain, he's literally admitting it, like psychically,
Mm-hmm.
um, to the point where it overwhelms the Reverend Mother. And in this, like but he still doesn't take his hand on the fucking box. That's the most important thing. Like he is in this tremendous amount of pain, but they told him don't take the hand out of the box or I'll fucking kill you. It's like, a simple thing where like, okay, you can have two of these now or you can have one now. You have two of these later or one now. What do you pick? Two later
Yeah.
or one now. It's like, okay, don't take your fucking hand out of the box or I'll kill
It
you. It's like, oh shit.
is also really relatable in a lot of ways too, because it's like when his whole thought process while there, like
Mm,
is very similar to how I would imagine it, right? Is like
mm,
you're in this incredible pain and you're like going through like how it's feeling and you're focusing directly on that pain while you're going
mm.
through it. And then like you're so focused on it that like it just ends, right? Like
Yeah.
it feels like, you know, it just
Numb.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. So like
Yeah.
that I connected like a bit with that because like,
I
that's
feel
how I would
like
feel.
I feel like a lot of young males empathize with Paul. I feel like that a lot of young men can step into his shoes. They feel like, we're inheriting a great destiny or whatever, or that we're the special because we're all the protagonists of our own story. Um, but there's some things about Paul that come on later on. We'll talk about it when the books. We usually
Yeah, I mean, it feels like he has at least personality, like that's coming out. You know, he's not just like this kid who's like obeying his mom and obeying the Reverend witch lady. Like he has perception, right? And he,
Yeah.
you know, he kind of like I don't know. He has like these qualities about him already. That's like he's not just a boring character who's like, okay, my mom told me to do this, I'll do it. Oh, okay, this lady told me to put my hand in the box. Oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna die. Ah, okay,
Yeah.
now she's disrespecting me and my mom and my whole family. Oh well, like
Yeah. No,
so.
for sure. For sure. It's he's an interesting character. I'm sure you're gonna love him, right? Like most people do. With that being said, we should probably shelve this
Yeah,
conversation for now, and I guess we'll just move right on to Suicide Squad.
yeah,
Uh,
Suicide Squad.
the Suicide Squad. All right, apologies, correction.
Yeah, whatever
Uh,
the fucking movie is. I mean, it,
and
it's it's
I,
it's billed as a quote unquote reboot, quote unquote sequel, like whatever it is. I mean, it does build on the first movie,
yeah,
um, by killing off the entire team, pretty much.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so a lot of I did see there was a lot of criticism for the movie,
Mm,
and I can understand some of it, but like the difference between the Suicide Squad and the other one with like Jared Leto and all them people
mm,
is like at least this movie felt like it had some heart. It
yeah,
felt like I mean it just was much more interesting overall. Like it wasn't just rated R to be rated R. Like it actually felt like it should be rated R.
very
Whereas
violent.
the other one was like felt like it should be PG-13. You know.
Yeah,
Um, and look, I've never liked John Cena. I think he's a terrible actor, but I think
mm,
he's great in this.
yeah. It's pretty fucking funny.
And maybe it's because like in his other roles, he always plays like a serious character, and like it feels like you can't take him seriously. Whereas
Yeah,
Peacemaker is like a character who thinks he's serious that you shouldn't take seriously, right? Like he's
yeah,
playing the exact role that he was pretty much born for. I think.
yeah. And I thought Idris Elba was great as Bloodsport. He just looked cool, sounded badass the entire time. Ratcatcher was cool, Polka Dot Man, and of course Maui was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone, hand like that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
funny shit.
King Shark was great.
He was, and I just honestly overall I was really impressed by the movie. I thought it was great. It felt like just a fun action movie. That's the thing. Like it was just a lot of fun. Like
Hmm.
here's the squad. I didn't watch any of the trailers or the previews or anything like that. So I'm not sure if they were like setting up some sort of stupid thing where the first cast, like who we originally get introduced to before those, by the way, spoilers if you haven't watched the Suicide Squad. But yeah, it's your fault if you haven't seen it now.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't know if like the whole this is the Suicide Squad and it's like the one with Damon Reynolds, all those guys get killed in like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Was that the marketing campaign they were going for and then they all die?
No,
Or-
no, like they didn't. I mean, they didn't reveal like they were going to kill off Captain Boomerang and all those people early in the movie, but it's pretty interesting to see like a lot of that. It was actually like it. It made you understand more like that these characters on Task Force X are expendable, right? Like
Yeah,
whereas like in the first movie, like you don't really like, oh cool, we killed one person that no one actually gave a fuck about. Cool, good
yeah,
job, guys. Like
we just blew his head off because we needed to make a point,
right.
and that's
Whereas
it.
this
The
one,
plot
but like,
device.
like they did like fucking millions of like 100. No, sorry, like they sent a team of what like 10 people and like 2 survived.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, they said two squads of 5 people. First team was Captain Flag with Joel. Joel Kinnaman, I believe
Joel
is his
Kilnan,
name.
yeah.
Yeah, he's
And
a
there
he's a
was like
really good actor.
Weasel and
Yeah,
a
Weasel
couple
was
of them.
hell of Weezers.
Yeah. Javelin guy.
Yeah,
Nathan Fillion's character as well, like whose like
glad to,
arms came off, yeah.
yeah, I'm glad to see Margot Robbie back as Harley Quinn. I'm pretty sure she said she'll do that role no matter what. But it's fine because she does a good Harley Quinn because like she was going on murder sprees in the movie, and I genuinely enjoyed it. Uh, by the
Yeah.
way, quick little caveat: I did and finally end up watching Birds of Prey. Man, that movie was like written with crayons. His,
But
that movie was. I did not enjoy that movie. Let me
yeah,
tell you.
so the only thing that helped me get through Birds of Prey was just imagining everything was super exaggerated and like because like my impression of it is like the entire film is seen through the eyes of Harley Quinn. So everything is going to be super over exaggerated. All the characters are going to be dumbed down or like made worse like because they're seen through her eyes. Like
Mm.
it's her story, but even then I still didn't like it.
Yeah, no, like no, that's an interesting jump you got to make there to make it work. It's
You know
too
what
big of
else
a jump
on
to
the
make.
same tangent that I don't know if you ever watched Dark Phoenix.
I did not.
Please don't. So I haven't watched it, whatever, blah blah. So I was like, you know what? I know they kill Mystique, and I've been waiting to see her die. So I'm gonna. And my friend told me straight, he's like, dude, she dies in like the first 10 minutes. I was like, you know what? I can still like 10 minutes of this movie to watch her die. This bitch dies in the 45th minute of the movie, and I sat through 45 minutes of fucking cringe. That movie
Yeah.
is god awful.
X-Men movies, unfortunately, they really lost their way. We were doing pretty good with Wolverine, and I honestly felt like they hit their crescendo with Logan. And now there's nowhere to go but down. Honestly, like
Well,
I
now
don't.
they can't go anywhere because Disney bought Fox.
Yeah. Unless they
So
do a reboot and we get everything new again,
yeah,
which
they'll
I
fix it.
think people are. Oh, I think people are getting tired of the reboots. So like new
No, I don't
Spider-Man's
think
done.
they'll reboot like X-Men from scratch. I think they'll just introduce the characters through other movies.
Yeah.
So
Let's see. Anyway, back on to the
Suicide
Suicide
Squad,
Squad.
yeah,
Yeah. So I guess we should just start from the start. Introduction. We get these characters. They all die in like this horrible, bloody. Like a lot of them die in really funny, bloody, horrible, gory ways. That detachable kid's arms are just fucking useless.
yeah,
Weasel drowns. Captain
but
Red Flag
it's still
gets,
alive somehow at the end.
yeah, and he just derps off into the woods.
Yeah,
Harley Quinn's there, kicking ass, disappears. That chick, whoever, I don't know, she jumps on a helicopter, blows up, which is pretty funny. Blackguard gets shot in the face immediately. Pete Buttigieg did that. All right,
yeah.
Um,
Javelin,
whoever that guy is.
yeah, yeah,
Then it just immediately cuts to the other squad, which is great. Like I said, it had a just very interesting cast of characters.
yeah.
Like the opening of Bloodsport, and I was like, this guy does exactly what I do.
Yeah,
Just
Bloodsport
like no,
and Peacemaker had good chemistry, like
they
together.
did, yeah, they did. And then we got Ratcatcher, which is honestly I thought was fine.
Yeah,
Polka Dot Man, hell funny. Something a lot of people emphasize with, like, why don't you come to my kid's birthday party, you fucking like super funny. He looks down. I don't know who his actor was, but he like does a really good job of being a really depressed guy.
yeah. He's the same guy who was in Ant-Man as the Russian guy, his Russian friend.
Yeah, and he was in Polka Dot Man was also in Dune, the newest Dune. He's the Mentat for Baron Harkonnen.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty
Oh
dope.
yeah.
So they go into this briefing scene, which I think is probably the start of like this some of the funny comedy we actually get from this shit. Because they ask him
Yeah.
starfish and butthole. Don't need to like, bring that up. Like, what were like? Is that when the movie started really like? Okay, I'm here for this. Like, or when did the movie really grab you?
Yeah, I think like even like when they initially went to the beach, because like they do start a little bit slow, like introducing like Bloodsport and like getting the teams together, and Bloodsport's daughter, and like he's kind of a dick to his own daughter. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they like get up on like the beach and like really starts picking up, it gets much more interesting.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I thought King Shark was fucking great.
Yep.
And like who didn't who in their right mind ever sat out there and said I never want to see Starro in a movie? Like Starro was fucking cool,
Yeah.
So I was happy to
I have
see
no idea who
Starro.
that was, and I was like, "Oh, cool, giant random DC monster."
Yeah, he's on I don't know if it's the first Justice League, but he's on the cover of Justice League comic, like old comic.
Mm. So
But yeah,
he's pretty important. And Dr. Gaius Graves, which that guy was just kind of a funny asshole. He was just showing up at like this random ass like sex bar at night and then saying like, "I'm gonna shove a bunch of rats up your ass." He's like, "I don't
yeah.
think the answer would be what you wanted to expect."
Was that Peter
Um,
Capaldi's character?
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, yeah. Doctor Who,
Yeah,
13th Doctor.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And then the killing competition between Bloodsport and Patriot Man was pretty funny when they were like trying to have a basically just a dick size comparison about how they kill
Yeah, yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
and then they killed all the wrong people. They killed the freedom
people,
fighters.
yeah. Hey, Flag, what's going on? I was like, oh, these are the freedom fighters. They saved my life. And he's like, oh. He's like,
Something happened here.
why didn't my people tell you of your arrival? He's like, I didn't see any people on the way, and there weren't any people. No.
Yeah.
And then to that scene where it cuts to is like these guys, and then he looks at Idris Elba and like John Cena, and like he just goes like, "Don't touch me!" Like fucking idiots, dude. It's just perfect delivery, like
Yeah.
good, great, fantastic chemistry.
This movie convinced me that John Cena could play the Thing.
Yeah, he probably could. Like to be honest, like, and he wouldn't even need to put on a costume too. He would just need to paint him orange, because that guy does not look human already.
Yeah.
It's like these long arms that like almost touch the fucking ground.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's probably taking his fair share of steroids. Let's be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta love the WWE, man. That's what they do.
That's what bodybuilders do too.
Yep.
Like the
And
majority of
then,
them, because they want to win competitions. It's really hard to win competitions if you're not doing it because everyone else is, and a lot of them don't get tested. So.
Yep. Kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
What else happens in Suicide Squad?
I mean, yeah, there's like the story of each character has their own kind of like sub story.
Yeah.
Like Ratcatcher and her dad,
Yeah.
who was played by Taika Waititi.
Yeah, for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I did kind of hate those though, like the little subplots in between, like the major plot points, essentially
Yeah.
just to eat into the travel time. It felt very forced and very awkward to me, but I'm willing to forgive it because I was there more for the action than I was really for anything else.
Right.
Because a lot of the action scenes just delivered perfectly, even when there was like doing intense fighting. Like the fight scene between between Captain Flag and Patriot Man was fantastic. Fantastic. It was probably one of the most intense fight scenes I've seen in a long time.
He's getting his own show, right? Peacemaker.
Oh, good.
Yeah, on HBO Max. John Cena's character is getting his own show.
Is it gonna be John Cena?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
And he has like a sidekick that's a bald eagle.
Oh Jesus! All right, well, let's see how that goes. Hopefully, it'll be really good or it'll be really bad. I don't know.
There's a trailer for it.
Yeah, Doom Patrol is really good. So
yeah, I still haven't watched it. I'm almost done with Titan season 3 now.
I need to watch Titans. Everyone keeps telling me to watch it. They say it's hella good.
The thing is, it's really odd. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, it's so far removed from comics in so many ways, but like, I actually really enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, it's a good story. That's what I've been told. Like, it's just a fun.
I don't even know if it's a good story, to be honest. Like, I just like it. Like, I think the costumes look great. The action scenes look great. Like, a lot of people think the story is like really like poor and like convoluted in a lot of ways and whatever. But like, at least people I've talked to, right? Like, but I found it to be pretty interesting. And like even though like the story might not be great, like a lot of things that happen are like interesting,
Yeah.
Like the weirdest thing though is like Bruce is like an old man already, and like it's just so weird that like Bruce is like in his 50s and like it just feels odd that he's still Batman.
Well, see, for me, I grew up on Batman Beyond, so I get used to old Bruce. I actually enjoy old Bruce. I
Yeah, but
remember
he's
when
not Batman in Batman Beyond, you know.
yeah, but he still beats the shit out of people with his cane. it's,
Yeah,
it's so funny, man. That's the best. That was,
but it's like the thing is like we've begged for things in live action DC for so long that we haven't got, and it's like this TV show gave us Nightwing, like this TV show gave us Starfire, gave us live action Beast Boy, gave us Red Hood, gave us Tim Drake, gave like things that Batman fans have always wanted to see. Like gave us even, I mean, not Batgirl really, but you know, Barbara Gordon in a lot of ways. That like we've been wanting, and like it's great now. Like HBO Max is doing a Batgirl movie and stuff, and like that should be interesting. And the woman that's playing her, like you know, she's a very fine looking lady. So,
always important. With
but
spandex.
yeah, but I need to hop on Doom Patrol. Like obviously, there's Doom Patrol was first introduced in an episode Titans in season 1, so I'm familiar with that part of it.
Yeah.
But I haven't watched any of the series, and I've heard it's actually outstanding. So
It's really entertaining. The first season is. The second season kind of lost me, but I heard it gets a little bit better when they move past that because they had to just tie up. I feel like they're just tying up plot points so they can move on to whatever they're gonna do next.
yeah, season 3's already started. So
Yeah, I'll need to check that out. Still haven't watched The Flash. I'm sure you'll be happy to hear.
I haven't watched The Flash for a couple years. So
Uh,
yeah, I think the last season I watched was season 5, maybe,
yeah.
and they're all like 8
with,
now.
with that being said, though, going back to the Suicide Squad just in general, like I am glad the DC is finally starting to seem like it's getting on its feet. Let's just hope that they can get something more comprehensive, something little less of a shit show, like the obviously what happened with Justice League and all the just the bad press that came out of that shit show. Like
Yeah.
it's just that's what it is. Like you had actors think they were being like racially discriminated against. You had actors thought that they were being underpaid. You had production assistants who thought they were being underpaid. Like the more and more you read about it, the more and more of a fucking shit show it is.
Well,
Like
yeah,
God.
and that's been Warner Brothers with DC for years. Like it's so dysfunctional and so like
And
just
why?
stupid.
Why? That's the reason. Why does it need to be this way?
I'm. Have we talked about the Batman, the upcoming one?
No, I don't believe we
With
have. I
Robert
haven't really.
Pattinson.
No, I loved Robert Pattinson as an actor because I saw Lighthouse. I was like, okay, this dude's like will do weird, crazy shit if he like it feels like it's gonna be great.
Hmm.
So I think it'll make a fun Batman. I'm not sure. I'll just watch the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super looking forward to it. I think it's gonna fucking pop off, to be honest. But
Yeah,
yeah, a lot of people like are not behind it at all. It's just so weird. Like,
people
in
suck, dude.
the thing is, right? Like, it's DC, right? So, what universe does it even take place in? Is it related to anything anywhere, or like, is this gonna launch its own universe? Like, that's a problem with DC. Everything's so fucking disconnected that it's just like, why? Why is Titans in a different universe than the Flash in a different universe than Justice League? Like, why? So,
That's probably because all the writers can get away with all their own bullshit justifications for some things their characters do, and then the writers like, well, this counters this, so I obviously got to make mine in my own universe, and that means there's no comprehensive writing structure like for the overall plot of DC. It would be great if it was something like Marvel, where they're starting to have actually genuinely decent shows tying into the movie series, like we got with WandaVision, which
yeah.
I thought was okay. We got Loki, which I actually thought was really, really good. And then we got, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was like, but it was just still just okay.
Yeah.
And then we got What If. I'm not sure if What If's going to tie in at all with anything because I
They
haven't watched it.
say it's gonna be important, but I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
Hawkeye is also coming out this month.
Yes. Yeah, Jeremy Renner was a great guy, so
Yeah.
hopefully it'll be good. He obviously is committed to that part very for like what we first saw him in Thor. It was just like a little teaser when he was just shooting like getting craned up. He's like, tell me when to take the shot. He's like, hold down, stand down.
Yeah, I mean it's really exciting, but yeah. So as far as What If goes, like I'm gonna tell you, the first 2 episodes I thought were terrible. Like I only kept watching it because I was like, well, hopefully it gets better, and I knew eventually we'd talk about it, so like I kept watching it, and like
episode
like the first 2 episodes just felt like it wasn't that different than what if these things didn't happen, right? Like,
Yeah, well, to me, like I said in that text I said to you earlier, the very first episode just felt like the same shit that they used to just send straight to DVD rental for kids. Like God, it was just so stupid and annoying. Like, everyone's got their little tagline before they punch somebody or before they beat up a Nazi or throw someone from Hydra, and it's just like,
yeah. I mean,
but yeah,
like episode 3 was at least interesting because it was like all the Avengers pretty much get killed, and
yeah,
like
we'll have
you
zombies, right?
no, like not even that one, like it's yeah, and then like Loki comes to Earth to like try to like take over, but like there's no one there and shit, and like you find out like Hank Pym had become Yellow Jacket to try to like, and he killed all of them, and like he became evil and shit, and you kind of find out like why and stuff. It's like actually interesting, but like the other ones are just not interesting, like the first two. But yeah, Zombies was fine, but felt like an incomplete story. And then like the final like 3 episodes were like connected at least. It was
Yeah.
like Vision was Ultron and got the Infinity Stones and like destroyed all of Earth, and then found other worlds and destroyed all of them, and then found all the other dimensions and started like breaking through, and then like the Watcher had to like get a team of all these other characters to like take him down.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
at
I'll
least
take that
something
as a point.
interesting happened, but like
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we'll skip the first 2 episodes. Because again,
yeah.
like it felt like it was made for kids. Like it's the only way I can describe it. Like I don't.
I think
I'm.
you'll enjoy the 3rd and 4th episodes. The 4th one I think is what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands, and it's like he gets in the crash with Christine in the car and she dies, and yeah, then things happen from there. That's actually more interesting.
Yeah, let
So,
me check that out.
but yeah, and
Um,
I'm also not a fan of the animation. I don't think it's great animation, but
yeah, same. That's the same too. Like I thought, okay, they're making another animated series, and again, I'm gonna keep quoting this, but like those straight to DVD, like no airing or anything like that on public television.
yeah,
The animation was awful, and I thought that okay, maybe this is them trying to reboot that brand of Marvel, like to sell toys or something. So let's see if it's any good. Like just the animation in the first one was just ugh, ugh. It's so bad.
yeah.
Ugh.
But I guess back to Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I
Uh,
keep thinking there's not really a whole like it
yeah.
wasn't very long.
I mean,
um,
overall, it's another James Gunn movie that
yeah,
balances comedy and action very well, and is a very enjoyable movie. I guess the biggest insult you could levy at it is it's kind of forgettable. Like once you're done with it, you're not like, holy shit, I need to go see that again. It's just like, oh, that was a very fun movie. I enjoyed it, and then you kind of move on with your life and don't think about it again.
yeah.
But
I
yeah,
watched it a couple times because I did enjoy it the very first time,
yeah, I really liked it. Other than that, there's Shang-Chi,
which was fantastic.
which was phenomenal. Yeah. Honestly, like it did a great job of bringing in like a lot of the Chinese mythology and the kung fu and action and martial arts and stuff. Like it was actually really really good and really
It also did something that no other Marvel movie, even including the one that supposedly had the big bad, it introduced a compelling, interesting villain that was still compelling and interesting after everything had happened, which is his
yeah,
father, the original Ten Rings.
yeah, the
Um,
Mandarin.
yeah, the true Mandarin,
Yeah.
which I'm sure you're happy that got fixed.
Yes, thank you. One woo woo woo.
Yeah. So that guy was obviously just he's a badass that kicked his way through time because he had these overpowered rings that kept him alive forever.
Yeah.
Um, then they had the other Mandarin, which is, yeah, he was there for some reason, kind of like a sideline pet. Uh, but aside from that, God, like where to start with that movie? It just gets right into the action. I think it's like in the first 10 minutes they get ambushed in the book, after we get that introductory sequence, and it's super intense. Like it's in our home, when our stopping ground, San Francisco Bay Area sort of bit. So it's always good
Oh
to
yeah,
see.
they nailed Bay Area culture too.
Yeah, yeah. Just the weird mix of it, the very strange mix of people we have.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, for me, like, they got everything spot on. And like, as a person married to an Asian woman, I could tell you that the traditional Asian values they show in the movie are completely accurate. They
Mm.
want their kids to get married and have children, like,
Yeah.
and be successful and be like a doctor or a nurse or something that's guaranteed good money. Like that's Asian culture in America to a T.
Yeah, and the pressures of the new generation dealing with that and trying to find their own version of the American dream and what it really means. Obviously, there's that too. Unless you find a superpower boyfriend who has like these 10 mortal rings, in which case you just get to skip a line and go to like do whatever. Also, I really just want to point out again, I love Wong. I'm glad that he's like the
Yeah.
bridge that just ties everything together. I love how he randomly appears like he was just in this fighting ring for no reason, fighting some interdimensional beast, and then he
No,
went to have a drink with him after.
he was fighting Abomination,
Oh, I don't know who Abomination.
the Hulk villain.
Oh, wait, which Hulk? What? What?
Did you watch the Incredible Hulk movie with Edward Norton?
The old one, like from a long time ago?
No, from like 2008.
No.
He fought Abomination, who's Lexi, but the way Abomination was in that movie looked different. Like they didn't even use comic book Abomination, but they changed his look for Shang-Chi to make him look comic book accurate, which was really cool.
Yeah. Well, that's good. But it's still like hella funny. Like I was just hanging out with, and then skipping right to the end though, the post-credit scene. I think it's post-credit scene where they get really drunk and start doing karaoke.
Yeah.
That is also very much Bay Area culture.
Yeah.
This is the karaoke room, the drunk karaoke room, especially when you start getting a little sweaty because you're really getting into what you're singing.
Right. Yeah, I mean, overall, it was just such a fantastic movie. And the thing is, like, I read an article like that this lady wrote, and she's like saying like the movie like had the most violent death of all time, and it was incredibly insulting to women because of the manner in which the mom died, and how it was very clear that she just got beaten down by all these men, and she did go out in a blaze of glory, and there was nothing empowering, feminine about it, and blah blah blah. And it's like
here's the take. That was kind of the point of her death. It was so pointless and needless. And
on top of that, it's wrong. Like they showed like the shot after when the Mandarin came back, when Wenwu came back, there were like 50 dead men around her. Are you kidding me? Of course she went out in a fucking blaze of glory. She fucked people up.
Yeah, exactly. That too, and also it was very tragic because she left behind these kids.
And also the idea that like it's not feminine or it's not powerful for women to choose a life that she chose. Like it's not okay for women to do that because it doesn't align with your idea of women empowerment. Like this woman she willingly gave up all the power in the world to be with someone she loved and have a family, right?
Yeah.
Like that is where her power comes from. Is like even though she gave up this gifted power from what the
Paper Grove.
Yeah,
the dragon scales.
The Great Protector, right? She gave up the Great Protector's magic and power, but she's still that same person she was with that power, right? Like without it. Like she's still an incredibly caring, kind, strong woman, and like she defended her family till the end, and she paid for the sins of the Mandarin, right? Like I don't get how that is insulting to women in any way. Like I get it, like her kids watched it and blah blah blah, like, but that's her kids, and especially I'm not trying to stereotype or like be racist in any way, but that in Asian culture, like kids are very disciplined to like obey their parents.
Yeah.
Like it's very disrespectful to go against your parents. And maybe not for Asian Americans because they've been Americanized, but
yeah. And also, I know a lot of young Asian men that feel like they had to grow up very quickly because of the circumstances of their family. While it's just very traditional that the girls were just doted on a little bit more. Obviously, in Asian culture, specifically in China, when we had the one-child policy, we knew exactly, like, where the priorities were when it comes to, like, gender preference and essentially the Asian continent, which is kind of funny because now it's led to a surplus of men and not enough.
Yeah, there's actually a documentary my wife watched on Netflix called Found, and it's about like how during like the one-child rule, a lot of like women babies, like ended up in like foster care systems or like adoption clinics, and like they got sent all around the world like by people adopting them, and
Yeah.
like they ended up finding a bunch of like their sisters or cousins through like this service from like people trying to reunite people, and like through like 23andMe and Ancestry and stuff, found like other girls that were in the same adoption centers with them, and like reunited like as teenagers and went back to China to like try to find their families and stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy life, especially that time now.
Yeah. I mean, China still sucks. Let's be honest, all right? Like the whole fucking
Yeah,
social
no.
credit system and whatnot. Jesus.
There's that, and it's just again like they just succumb. I don't know how else to put it. Like it's succumbed to a cult of personality around another leader who they consider to be strong and that they put all their faith into, and that person violates that faith.
Yeah.
There's another leader that came before him who I read about a lot called Deng Xiaoping, and he, was one who essentially reopened China to the world. And I'm starting to appreciate the fact that he also stepped down when he was done.
Mm-hmm.
He did a lot of really fucked up shit too. China's a crazy place, especially when the value of a human life is weighed and measured in very specific odd ways. And it's just, well, I hope it's not over here, though sometimes it probably is.
Yeah.
With that being said, though,
With that being said, Shang-Chi was amazing.
It was. And can we talk about the VHX of the rings for a second? Like, holy shit! Like, they fucking look so fucking cool. Like,
dude, and the dragon.
Yes, the dragon.
And I'm pretty sure the dragon had the mother's eyes.
Something. I'm not.
I don't know, but it looked really good. The Great Protector looked fucking sick, dude.
It did, and just again, man, those rings, like they look so cool. It felt like they have impact, like they had a weight on the screen that almost like dragged the screen around with them. It's just God, and like to me, the most intense scene in that movie was when he goes with his father to that den of criminals.
Oh yeah.
And he puts the 10 rings on in a really fucking nice suit. Like, and that's the first thing he does is just go get the 10 rings and then put on a nice suit and then go get his son. Like, okay, son, let's go.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy because he obviously just murders them in a horrible, horrible way right in front of his, like, 11-year-old son, not even like 8-year-old or something like that. Everything about this movie just had weight and gravitas and intense, and it had touching moments too. Like, in the very final battle scene, the first thing the dad does is go to her shrine and light an offering.
Yeah.
And that's like, oh my God, like, damn, he still really loves his woman. Like, it's the core of his character. And that's why, to me, he's probably the most compelling villain that's ever come out of the Marvel Universe.
And the actor is so good.
Good, yes.
He's so good.
Pain. He feels it. You can feel the pain in his voice. It's just like he's mad that his children are fucking running away because he's turning into a monster and his parents recognize him.
Yeah, there's so much depth to the characters too. Like,
yeah,
Shang-Chi is amazing.
It does. And when they kidnap him, it's not like the atypical, okay, you guys are kidnapped, now you're down in my dungeon, oh ho ho. It's okay, you're my kids, welcome back to the house. Fuck, try fucking forever to get you back here. They had dinner in a very respectful way because, as you know, another part of Asian culture is eating communally. Eating as a group is super important.
Yeah.
So dinner time is super duper important, especially with family. And they all had it like very traditional, very calm way, considering they just had to beat the shit out of a bunch of guys on the side of a building just to get kidnapped. And God, just the fight scenes, like especially on the side of the building, like it was like Old Boy. It was shot like Old Boy, like the hallway scene. Do you know what Old Boy is?
No, I never watched it, but it reminded me of like Rush Hour.
Yeah, it's another movie you and I should really need to watch. Tell your girlfriend too. Ask her if she's watched Old Boy, and if she hasn't, I'll be very upset. But she watched it. So, with that being said, the Old Boy is like this really good old school South Korean, obviously Korean combat flick, and it's just fucking crazy. And just the side pan, it's famous for like having these sideways shots where it's kind of like Mario, and like the fighting side to side, which they did on that side of the building, which is fantastic.
Right.
I thought his sister was super cool and badass.
Yeah.
She was organizing her own fight club where supernatural beings like Wang, like Wong come and fight for some reason.
Yeah.
It's great. He has to take his shirt off. It's the first thing. All right, bud, pop top off. He's like, what?
Yeah.
That guy is very well built. He's a very well built man. The main character, I was gonna say, man, like he's got some fucking arms on him, and he's got like some traps, dude. Like, damn, like he could probably bend steel bar if he wanted to.
Yeah, even like the soundtrack they chose to like was very Bay Area culture, like
Yep.
the like electric kind of rap
Yep.
mixed with like Asian vibes. Like, dude, like if you want to talk about Bay Area music and Bay Area culture, like it's not so much Chinese influenced anymore. It probably used to be like
Mhm.
obviously Chinatown and stuff, but like the right now Bay Area, San Francisco especially, culture and music is heavily defined by the Filipino people there.
Yeah. Like just the the there's this I can't remember the name of the rap group, but there's this really good sorry, I just gotta get this is gonna bother me all night.
Find it. But you know what?
The
Also,
the Asian Dub Foundation,
hmm,
super good group, but also like a lot of the influencers are there, almost directly influenced. If I were to say that myself, and it's just I'm glad that we get to see more interesting things. The the Asian Peninsula is one of those very interesting place culturally. Let's leave it at that. It's just it's like 100 million different cultures all mixed together into one giant, continuing massive islands and all this stuff. So, and like I said, I think Bay Area, yes, I think they kind of moved away from it a bit, especially as they went more into as they moved on to the Asian continent. I feel like the
yeah,
music started, and as they moved into the ancestral forest, the music became much more traditional, which is
right,
great.
as it
That's
should,
how you pace something. You're pacing the music, which is fantastic.
right.
Uh, but aside from that, man, like what else? I don't know. Okay, what's something you don't like about this movie? There we go. Better
About
question.
Shang-Chi,
Yeah,
I
that
don't
movie
even
right.
know if there is anything I don't like. I thought like the entire movie was great.
What about the other Mandarin was in there? I know you just hated that guy with a burning passion for Thousand Suns.
Yeah, but the fact that they retconned him like directly in the movie make it all better.
Yeah, they joked on him too. He was just a prisoner. Like the actual Mandarin kidnapped him and like kept him around.
Yeah, and it's actually funny.
Yeah, and he's a good guy. He's funny. That actor is really funny.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Do you want to talk about this image released for the Lord of the Rings TV show?
sure.
Have you seen
Is
it?
it the boats?
No.
Yeah, sure. I'll watch it. I'll check it out.
It's
Let
actually
me.
this image is kind of hard to see, but
Yo, what's that supposed to be? What city?
do you see?
Is it-
So you can't really see it in the background of this one that I got. Maybe I can find a better one. But while I do, I can talk to you about it if you want.
Yeah.
But let me see. Lord of the Rings TV show.
So they're actually taking a swing at the Similarian, right? Like that's the
It's
idea.
it's very odd because they've said
They're not
in
they're not doing it, but then it sounds like it really sounds like you guys are trying to
yeah
take a swing.
oops, they've said like okay it's gonna take place during the Second Age and all this stuff and like blah blah blah, but like this image is very clearly like Valinor. What the fuck, man? How can
Is
they?
that what this is?
Oh
Yeah.
shit! What happened? Nothing happened. I pushed. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, if you maybe this is better. Hold on. Let me do this and add blah blah blah. Window capture. Add. Sorry if anybody's listening to this and like can't see shit and you're just like confused.
Yeah. You should come
But
and listen to us live if you want to see the cool stuff.
yeah. So okay, let me make this bigger. So like
Do you think we're gonna see a group of elves kill a Balrog and then harvest its flesh and devour it?
I don't know. That's the thing is like they say okay, it's taking place during the Second Age, right?
Yeah.
That the series, but like you can see this. And let me hold on. I'm gonna make this as big as possible. You can see this, right? These trees in the background, the white and the gold and the like black tree
In
hugging.
that really big tree. Yep.
Those are two trees, right? That's Laurelin and Telperion, and this is the first stage because the trees get destroyed at the end of the first stage. Like that's the thing. Like these are clearly the trees of Valinor.
What if
This
they're gonna take a light swing? That's the thing. Like, what if they're gonna try and do flashbacks or something to make things make sense? Do you think?
it's
I don't.
possible.
a lot of people are really psyched about the ships, right? Because like the elven ships actually look like elf boats, like swans or whatever the fuck. Apparently,
Right.
they're like really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's the thing is like, right, that makes sense more as well for the second age. Because some things happen there. But like pretty much what happens at the end of the
Like,
first stage is Morgoth, who's like Sauron before Sauron, but more
Satan.
powerful.
He's Satan. He's Satan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Him and Ungoliant. Ungoliant is a evil spirit that takes the form of a giant spider, like Shelob. Um, they come and they assault Valinor, and they destroy these two trees, the trees in the background, right? And the seeds from those trees end up becoming the sun and moon on Earth. So that's what those represent, essentially. Like when they're on Earth as the trees, like they provide all the light and darkness on Earth. But when they get destroyed, they become the sun and the moon. But they get destroyed at the end of the first age, and we're told that the series takes place in the second age. So that means that either they lied or there's going to be a lot of flashbacks to Valinor.
Yeah, and again, that'll be them taking light swings in Similarium, which is again, it's like reading the Bible. It's a hard book to get through. Like I've tried many times. Like it's just like, ay.
Oh yeah, people are also upset because I think it was like rumored or talked about that like they're gonna be doing some filming in England or in Belfast or something. People are like, they can only film in New Zealand. They can't do Middle Earth worlds.
Go fuck yourself. This earth is full of many beautiful vistas, some of which are located in the interior of the UK. Scotland is one of the most beautiful lands. Like it's like driving through Scotland is. Surprised they didn't freaking shoot Lord of the Rings there. That's all I gotta say about when it comes to the Scotland countryside. Yeah. With that being said, though, like if they found a cool spot in the UK, maybe they found like an old castle or some shit like that. They could,
a lot of Game of Thrones was shot in Belfast. I mean, it looks old and ancient and probably where you would imagine Lord of the Rings be. I mean, Tolkien didn't imagine Lord of the Rings in New Zealand. He imagined it in what would
his
be
his backyard,
the UK,
where he wandered. Yeah, where he wandered as a child. Exactly. Like that nature influenced his writing forever because you can see it in his writing. Like he just describing the UK when he's writing.
Yeah.
Except for the volcano ashlands.
Right. I mean, that was clearly the Middle East. Just kidding.
Yeah. It's clearly the place full of all those brown people that Tolkien hates.
Jesus.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll never know because the guy isn't alive, so it's just best not to even wonder.
Yeah.
He's most likely a serious homophobe, if we really think about it, too. I don't know. Are there any gay characters in Lord of the Rings?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, even if there are, we wouldn't know because he doesn't make the point of character sexuality, except for like Aragorn and like the classic ones. But like, we don't know if Legolas is attracted to women or men. We don't know. Because we don't know about Gandalf, like because there's not a point made of it, and there shouldn't always be, right? Like we shouldn't always have to make a point of a character sexuality. But
these characters shouldn't. It turns out, unlike how it's suggested in Game of Thrones, these characters don't need to be boning all the time for them to be interesting.
Right. I mean, on top of that, like you think about it in the real world, like I'm not sure about you. I'm sure you do have gay friends, right? But like all the gay people I know. Like, we don't just talk about how much they love screwing people of the same sex and about how gay they are. Like, it's just not a conversation because just because they're gay doesn't mean that's their entire personality. And it's not even a big part of it. Like, it might influence what they like or what they don't like, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I've never sat with one of my gay friends and been like, "Yeah, dude, do you like fucking dudes? Oh, yeah, you're so gay." Like, no. And just like us, we don't talk about how much we love fucking women and like, oh, my whole personality is that I'm a dad and shit. Like, that's just not how people are. Like, your sexual preference has nothing to do with who you are as a person. And I don't know why people think it does all of a sudden.
Well, it's also because a lot of people are really tied to it because, like, as someone who helped found the middle school Gay Straight Alliance and helped found, the Gay Straight Alliance in high school, like, is some of these kids, like, to me, like, it was just obvious. Like, I'm having all these weird feelings, don't know why. It's like, it's because you're changing in front of them in the locker room. It's like, what? It's because you go into a locker room. I imagine, if you were a really young man and you were just discovering who you were, what it means to be a man, and you get to walk into the women's locker room whenever you want to. That's what's happening.
Yeah, and that's like the classic male fantasy too. Is like when you're in high school, you're like, oh, I wish I could be in the spying through the door of the women's locker room and shit, right?
Yeah, and they were taking these kids who have these really confused feelings already, and are putting them in a place that's essentially their fantasy.
Yeah.
And then they're getting all these confusing feelings, and they're wondering why they're confused. So I've been with a lot of people who are homosexual, LGBTQ plus. I just say LGBTQT plus because everything else is just whatever.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with the alphabet that comes and goes. It's weird because it goes more and then it goes back. That's why I just stick with the plus. With that being said, though, like when they finally come to discover who they are, like, they do very much have some of those conversations of time. But eventually, at some point, like old people, like, I'm sure when you and your wife, well, again, this might be very personal, but I'm sure when you guys started enjoying each other's company a lot more, you were excited about it and it made you happy, and you were happy that you got to do that with another person,
Hell yeah.
Exactly,
Of course.
So they were really excited about that too, But then of course they become normal people, and then they weren't. It turns out the relationships with another human being is really fucking hard. And next thing I know, I'm listening to a bunch of people complain about how hard it is to date dudes.
We also have to understand that, like, as me, as a straight person, I grew up in a society where I never had to feel like my feelings were strange, right? Like
it was okay for you to mac on your babysitter. Like, imagine if you had a male babysitter.
Well,
okay.
I when I was 10 and my babysitter was 15, we were actually making out all the time. Like,
okay, it was okay. Now just imagine, like, if it was completely different scenario. It was you and a male babysitter, because if you were both consenting to that, though, like at the end of the day, the 15-year-old would have been labeled a predator and a piece of shit, and he would have been, like, thrown in their damn dungeon or whatever. What else would have happened to him?
That's fair, but
yeah,
not only that, though, is like people who are gay, etc., in our society have grown up not feeling safe being who they were.
Normal. Or just normal. Like, it's the thing that they feel abnormal. Like, they don't feel like they can walk down the street.
And that's why, like, it's not as important for us, or for me. I don't want to speak for you, but it's not as important for me to see straight relationships in media or comic books or anything, because I've grown up in a society that has told me there's nothing wrong with liking women as a man. But these are people who've grown up in a society saying it's weird, and you don't see that on TV, you don't see that in movies, you don't see any normalization of what you like, because it's perverse and because it's not normal and because we don't care to do something. Like, like there are very few exceptions, like, TV shows, like there was like a UK show in like the 80s, late 80s, that the first lesbian couple ever, and all they were doing was literally like being in a relationship, no kissing, no sex, no anything, and people thought it was like demonic and shit, like,
and
it's like
too, the UK has had some of the strictest anti-gay laws. Like, they were literally chemically castrating men that were just.
Well, and people think so one-dimensionally. Everything is an American issue. Oh, racism lives and dies in America. Global warming lives and dies in America.
That'd be a lot easier to fix racism if it was just an American issue.
Yeah, these are world issues, all of them. I mean, the funny thing is, like, there was a person who's transgender who said, like, at least trans people aren't being murdered just for being trans, like they are in Afghanistan, and like they got a bunch of hate from people, like, oh, how dare you, say like gay people or trans people don't have it bad in America. And it's like, yo, they didn't say that. They just said, like, in Afghanistan you'd literally be murdered.
They just said, like, compared to everywhere else, like,
right. And we did it, right? Trans people get murdered in America too, but
there are club they do, and I've been to events where people who are obviously LGBTQ plus were just trying to say, hey, we're here, we're queer, we exist, we want to be able to get married and enjoy those tax benefits, and just, because it's not your decision whether or not we get to marry, because, like, it's an institution of the people for the people,
and by the people.
And there were some very, very, very angry people at those marches and protests that thought the gay people shouldn't exist at all. They were flashing firearms and shit, and that kind of shit is very intimidating, and that kind of stuff obviously does go on in this country. But like I said, a lot of, honestly, like, me, it's weird. My skin is thin, but it's thick at the same time. Like, I don't give a fuck, so I'll just go out and say it. there are a lot of young people in this country that are very culturally spoiled. They just don't understand how fucking shitty other countries are. They just don't understand that at the end of the day, like how violent, how backwards, how in control the government is, like how you need to bribe the police every single time you get stopped. Because if you don't, they're going to arrest you for some bullshit reason and then throw you into basically the slave labor system.
Yeah, I have an interesting thing to say about that, but you're right, and it's like it's almost to the point where like there's this cultural movement in America where like people are so spoiled and have so much privilege that they have to find ways to make themselves a victim in order to like make their character have some kind of depth, right? Like
exactly,
it's
like,
just
they
odd.
need to have suffered. That's the thing. Like they most likely haven't suffered. They might have, obviously, I don't know these people. They could have gone through traumatic incidents. All humans go through traumatic.
You never know.
Especially, unfortunately, with the United States, a lot of people are inheriting intergenerational trauma because another thing in this country, the other thing that our generation of Americans are very lucky to have. You and I were fucking drafted for a war. Okay, like here's your gun, like go shoot some strangers because communism. Like here you go, like that never happened to us. Like we were very lucky. Like, and that's males, I believe, in most countries in the world have compelled military service for at least 3 or 4 years. I know they do in Russia, and I know they do in the Ukraine,
South Korea, New Zealand.
Yep. Like if you're a man, go fight, and then these countries go like, okay, we're the captains of general quality, but our men have to fight and die because that's what men do.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. It's
what was your big point on that about like like you said,
well,
how culturally.
So I mean. So there's 2 points. One is like I go back to that article that we talked about before, where like someone was like, "Why are people upset that Scarlet Witch was played by a white person and not like a Middle Eastern person or whatever?" And the person said like, essentially, like, these people's lives are so devoid of actual strife that they have to take up some other cause to feel like they're making a difference in the world or something. Yes. But like what you're saying about like in certain countries, like how you have to like fight out of tickets and stuff so you don't get arrested is like. I remember reading a case study in college where like police officers in Mexico, like the only money that police officers in Mexico make is from tickets. Yeah. And like a lot of them like not giving a ticket is the difference between feeding their family and not.
Yeah, and too, the thing about Mexico, people don't realize, because I've done a lot of reading on the cartels and how they operate.
Yeah.
There are states that are not controlled by the government. Where the cartels own everything, where they literally set up roadblocks, and if they like your car, they'll fucking take it because they need it for their cartel war with the neighboring cartel. And it's just like we're seeing, Mexican revolution all over again. We're starting to see a bunch of civil arms groups starting to stand up already. So people just don't like. You're right. This country has issues. Obviously, it has a lot of issues. This country is grappling with a very racist, horribly racist past. Like, there's no like. To me, like this has never been a talking point. Like Reconstruction ended after Ulysses Grant left office. That was it. That was like what 8 years. Well, the Union reintegrated the entire South, immediately voted themselves back into Congress, and then put Jim Crow in place. So it was basically just the extension of the Confederacy.
Well, of course. I mean, like, Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, but then they were considered not people still. Like, they weren't real citizens. They couldn't vote. They still didn't have rights. And
they had to pay taxes, but they couldn't vote.
I'm sorry. Even women got the right to vote before black men.
In this country specifically, we need to point that. It's bad, man. Like it's reading like me. I'm an enthusiastic consumer of marijuana, right? Sure. In college for law, I did a report on the origins of cannabis law in this country, and it's just super racist. All the laws on the books are because these. Basically what happened is that the Drug Enforcement Agency botched prohibition, and so now there's this whole agency that needed to justify their paychecks after prohibition ended. So like, okay, we're gonna scapegoat this stuff, cannabis. What's cannabis? I don't know, some stupid plant all these Mexicans smoke. And then they started this propaganda campaign about how it turns like when Mexican men smoke it, it turns them into like horrible like serial super strong rapists or something like that can overpower women.
Oh yeah.
It was horrible. Like, and they made like literal propaganda posters like depicting Mexican men as like apes, essentially. and it was
Oh
horrible.
yeah.
And those are all the origins of the cannabis laws, and especially the psychedelic laws, which are just anti-Native American. You
Yeah.
know, and,
Also, I'd like to amend what I said. American women didn't get the right to vote before
uh,
black men. But African
that's
Americans
why.
got the right to vote, and the 15th Amendment, women was the 19th Amendment. My brain stopped working, you know.
It's all good. You corrected yourself, and that's all that really fucking matters. And if
But
anyone's like, "Well,
but I guess I mean it doesn't make it any better. We still like
fucking matters,"
denied people rights for years for no reason.
exactly, like because at the end of the day, like this country started off, you know, like I said before, I like to think of this country as a tower. This country started off as a white landowning, mainly no, as primarily as a white landowning male class. And we've been building upon that ever since. You know, slowly and slowly, the tower gets more pristine. Like you know, at the very bottom, it's all clay and mud, and then we get to bricks, and then now we're suddenly get to steel, and hopefully one day it'll just be a pearl tower where everybody's cool and chill.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really think we'll, because you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ryujin, I don't know if that's how you say your name in the chat. I was like, I was pulling up Wikipedia in a rage. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sometimes my brain does that. Like, because you know the thing is, right?
Oh no, Rio's in here. She's gonna trust me.
The thing is, Americans,
Yeah.
Americans, America, the country, has a long history of holding people down, right? And you know, I knew it was one or the other, but my brain completely farted, and I was like, wait, 15th Amendment obviously was granting African Americans the right to vote, and the 19th is women. I apologize. Yes, but still, the message is the same. It's so shitty that even people that we enslaved as a country got the right to vote before women. It's so insulting. I'm so sorry.
And how long did that take though? After the revolution that supposedly freed them all.
Well, I mean, even right, like the right to vote, even for African Americans, like didn't even get they found every reason not to allow them to vote after that. Still, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like you
like,
know, okay,
the law didn't matter. Still,
they put in literacy laws that not even some of the white Southerners could pass. Like there were known issues at the polls of brawls breaking out because they would just say, "Oh, you don't need to take this test." Why? Because you just fucking don't. And then they, you know, some other person walks up like, "Hey, you need to take like this AP English. Like, how literate are you? Like, I need to know if you are you familiar with Shakespeare, sir?" You know, just the stupidest. Like, because that's the only reason you're allowed to vote. Like, why didn't you stop that guy? Shut the fuck up. But anyway, so can you answer this or not? You know, it's just all fucked up.
You know, freaking men were showing up with their like newborn babies, like letting them vote, and then like adult black men show up. They're like, "Have you passed the men's test?"
Yeah, like it's just, and like so we just got like because I've been reading online, so like man, like people are like, this is like I don't know how to describe this issue, but people are saying this country doesn't like recognize its own racist past, and like. I don't know, but when I was in college and I was in school, it seemed to come up a lot, and we seemed to acknowledge it a lot. And it was in all our history about how we enslaved a bunch of people. We had a really huge war where a lot of fucking people died, and then at the end of the day, we still failed, and we're still dealing with it even today.
Yeah, I mean, essentially what it is like the American government every few years writes a letter to black communities and just says, "Dear black community, my bad."
Yeah.
Like, that's the entire relationship we have, right? Like,
yeah, pretty much.
And the thing is, right? Like, as the least oppressed person in the world, as a straight white male, I can't speak for how to resolve issues not only within the black community but between, you know, the United States of America and black communities and in all other communities that have been oppressed. I mean, you look at the history of America, and it's not just African. It's Irish communities. It's you know, you look at close to here, Watsonville, California, in the 30s. The way that they treated Filipino migrants here, like it's always been an issue, and I don't know what the solutions are to fix those things. I don't know. I have no opinion on reparations because. Again, like I'm not a part of the community. It doesn't impact me. I don't know what's right or wrong. I don't make those decisions. But all I know is what we've done doesn't seem to be enough.
Yeah,
because
I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, it's just that like you know there are a lot of things we can do right now. Obviously, the largest population of a very large chunk of the homeless population are mostly colored people because of just economic circumstance. Essentially, they got screwed by the system. Like you know, I didn't have any friends or family, and I was working, and then my fucking job got my job is my job left or I got fired for some stupid reason, like working 17-hour shifts for 4 days in a row. I smoke weed on my days off to fucking chill out, and I got a random drug test, and now I got fucking fired.
Yeah.
Stupid shit like that. And then my landlord was trying to get me out for a while because they wanted to redo the unit or whatever the fuck. Now they're on the street and they have sit. How do you get out of that situation? It's very difficult. There obviously have been examples of getting out of that situation, but it's like, oh yeah, I went to Domino's and I worked 20 hours, 7 days a week, all overtime, basically.
Well, I mean, and the issue with that a lot of times is your job won't allow you to work overtime, right? A lot of jobs don't allow it. So what I'll say ultimately is like,
get homes to the homeless. I'm sorry, I really just need to put that out there. Like, fuck, dude. Like, at some point, we need to look the idea. We need to look the problem in the fucking eye, and we need to solve it. Like, it's just bad. Like, there are people who don't want to be on the streets.
Yeah.
Just need like a little studio or something like that to get the fuck back on their feet. It's not like they're asking for a mansion here,
Right. So, what I'll say though overall is like, as a country, as America, we've come a long way.
Yes, that's one thing. Also, like, people get mad at like acknowledging that, hey, we're moving forward. We are. Like, it may not look like it, but we are. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, even California, right? Like, California, unfortunately, is like labeled the most progressive state, and it is incredibly progressive. But how many times do we vote no on legal marijuana and legal gay marriage? How many times?
Yeah.
Right? A lot. And eventually, that all changed. And that's for the better. And now, if you polled Americans, most of them, I would say probably, I don't know the exact number, I'd say like 60% though, are in favor of gay marriage, right?
And the marijuana question, the cannabis question changes every day. Like,
right.
It really does.
But you look at the interracial marriage, right? In like 40s, I think it was like 3% of people were okay with interracial marriage. And today it's like 97, right? And because people, you'll never get rid of ignorance, you'll never get rid of racism and everything, but we've still come a long way, and there's still a long way to go. And what are the solutions for all these things? I don't know. But the most we can do as people is be kind to other people, not judge them for the color of their skin or their sexual preferences or whatever. Just live your life and treat others with kindness no matter what.
Yeah.
Unless they're just like shitty to you, but.
And like, I'm progressive. I'm pretty left. So like, I advocate for more left positions. Like I said, giving homes to the homeless. I think you can just give them the title, give them the fucking deed. Like, they don't need. They just need. That's the problem with the Bay Area. Like, everyone's wondering what's going on. It's just they're building all these giant 2-story huge family homes and not any single story 3-bedroom homes. And then they're all super expensive, just ratcheting the price up. So nobody can afford to live out here. It sucks.
Yeah.
And I just think the way to fix that is to make it so there's an actual set standard for like storied homes, which is like, I think we should have this many story homes in this location and this many story homes in this location. But also, I just think we should start giving homes to people that need it desperately or something, literally anything better than what we got going on right now. Like, it's embarrassing. It really is. There are problems in this country that can be easily solved, and I think that the people in the community used to solve them too, like with healthcare. Like back in the 1800s, the issue of healthcare wasn't an issue. They just didn't talk about it because doctors were mostly widely available because they would just move to random if there was a frontier town, a doctor would move in there, and then the people would give him his house for free. They would give him his office for free. He would go into the grocer's and get whatever he wanted, because the grocer's like, oh yeah, you're the doctor, you don't need to fucking pay for anything. Stuff like that,
Yeah.
We had common sense solutions to common problems, and I don't understand where the common sense went, if I'm honest. Like, there were a lot of very interesting solutions to very complex problems in the 19th century, and for all the wrong they did, they also did a lot right. And I think we need to start looking at that century specifically as an era of great change. The transition from sail to steam. It's crazy.
Yeah. So Ryujin in the chat, you know her?
Oh yeah, long friend. It's weird. I'm not seeing the messages in the chat room though, so that's weird.
Oh yeah, she typed 2 messages. Yeah.
Good.
But yeah, I apologize again. I didn't mean to insult the strife of women in our country. I understand. But yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you typing because that's cool.
Interaction. Yeah, we're interacting.
Yeah.
One time there was this character in a video game that was very sexist immediately out of nowhere, and then Rio was just like, "Reek!" just fast, fast on it, and that's why they got Rio. So, good times.
Yeah.
So we want to go over a lot today. A little bit of Dune book club building. I think it's a good time to wrap it up, though.
Cool. Dude, I designed some merch.
Oh man, for you and me, Jesus.
No, not for us.
Okay, good.
I'll show you. Look at it's on Amazon.
Nightingale. Oh, awesome, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds...
So it's it's a nightingale with some music notes. It's all like I just always like the aesthetic of like this like the light color pink on black. I think it looks really good. So I had that one, and I did like a t-shirt. That's
Did you get like a printing machine, or did you go to like shop?
No, it's just
Or does another company like print the
Amazon prints them.
Oh wow, damn.
Yeah.
God, do everything. Like even like I'm trying to publish a book here, which I am working on. It is number ready in November. I wrote 353 words on Monday, which is not a lot, but it's still dropping the bucket.
Yeah.
Like I said, they'll print your book for you to order. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. I just like this like for the regular t-shirt, like just have it small in like the corner, I don't know. I just think it looks nice, like that aesthetic. So yeah.
What you do next time is like have specific songs on the notes, or like a little special tune, like Sandman note.
Yeah, I just designed the logo through through Canva, and
That's dope.
Yeah, so.
That's dope.
But yeah, I thought that looked sick.
Gotta get them to sponsor us. We need to get that high rise in LA, my dude.
Yeah, well, what I was thinking too is like, because it's pink as well, like doing like something like if I sell enough, like donating some to like breast cancer and shit, like. My mom had breast cancer and shit, so.
Yep.
But yeah.
All right.
Cool.
So any concluding remarks?
Not really. I think we covered everything. Yeah. You probably didn't check out DC Fandom because it's just a bunch of trailers and bullshit, but.
Yeah, no, I'll probably watch. I'm gonna go. This week I got paid to do some work, so I'm not really getting any income this week. But next week I'm probably gonna work, try to work at least a pretty steady amount of hours. I got to working for my parents again at the Remax while I'm studying for my real estate exam. So, it's just easier. So hopefully I'll do that. Then I'll go see Immortals or something. Maybe I'll go with Jeff. Trying to get him onto a podcast. You know Jeff, right?
Yeah.
Oh, mom, but he hates the fucking sound of his own voice. I'm like, don't care. Just don't fucking do what I do and just don't listen to what you.
Yeah. I mean, if he ever wants to talk, dude, get him on. Like, I miss that guy.
I'm doing.
He's a good
trying
guy.
To get Mookie on too. Rio Jen knows who that is. Mookie, probably, and this is very respect, but she's probably my closest friend of all time. I'm the godfather of her child. So she's just a very nice lady from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, and if I have another podcast I do called Life Serial. It's just like more general topics. So if Rio ever wants to get on her soapbox about women's rights and shit, hey, we can talk about whatever.
Find Texas speech, but eventually, I'm sure.
Hey, I'm always happy to learn and keep an open mind about things and get other people's perspectives because I'm just me and I don't know everything and I can't know everything. So.
Life is a learning process.
Yeah.
And so we do with this podcast. We hope anybody listening in the future or in the past, I don't know how you'd be listening in the past, but if you, for some reason, invented a machine, they can listen to pre-recorded podcasts in the past that were recorded in the future. You're listening to us. That's fucking awesome. Like, thanks. So I hope you learned something. So
I'm watching right now, and I already know what you're gonna say next.
Oh God, my randomness, the counter by one strength. Anyway, my thighs are getting a little clammy on this chair, so I think that means it's time to.
It's time to head on out. All right.
Mosey on down the lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit! All right, friend. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for Ryu for typing. Thanks for everybody who watched.
Thanks to everybody who's listening in the future.
Yep. I'm not going to shout anything out. Just much love, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Yep.